10 biggest mistakes that ruin new relationships and how to fix them. Gentlemen, have you ever felt like you're your own worst enemy in love? Like there's some invisible force sabotaging your relationships? It's not just bad luck. It might be your ego, expectations, or fear of being vulnerable. In this episode, we're diving deep into the hidden ways men unknowingly push love away. Get ready to discover how to break these destructive patterns and transform your love life into something truly extraordinary. Don't let another relationship slip through your fingers. Let's dive into the first major hurdle, the ego trap. Number 1, the ego trap, when pride becomes a love blocker. Think of your ego as a bully on the playground. It might make you feel powerful in the short term, but it pushes others away. In relationships, constantly needing to be right, dismissing your partner's feelings, or prioritizing your own needs above hers is like constantly trying to shove other kids off the swings. You might feel like you're winning, but you're not making any friends. A healthy relationship is a cooperative game, and your partner is your teammate, not your opponent. When a man never listens to his partner's perspective during an argument, insists he's always right, interrupts her, and disregards her feelings, she will gradually feel unheard and disrespected. This emotional withdrawal will create a growing distance between them. His ego, fixated on winning the argument, blinds him to the harm he's inflicting on the relationship. Gentlemen, it's important to remember that love is not a battlefield. It's not about winning or losing, but about understanding, compromise, and mutual respect. Your ego might crave the spotlight, but in a healthy relationship, the focus should be on the us, not the me. So, how do you tame the ego and prevent it from sabotaging your love life? Start by practicing humility. Recognize that you don't have all the answers, and that your partner's perspective is just as valid as your own. Be willing to apologize when you're wrong, and learn to accept constructive criticism without getting defensive. Another key is to cultivate empathy. Put yourself in your partner's shoes and try to understand her feelings, even if you don't agree with them. Show her that you value her perspective and that you're willing to work together to find solutions. Remember, a healthy relationship is a partnership, not a competition. By letting go of the need to always be right and focusing on building a strong connection with your partner, you'll create a love that's not only easier but also more fulfilling and lasting. Before we jump into the next lesson, here's a shocking stat. 98% of viewers don't leave comments or hit the like button. If you found lesson number 1 helpful, drop a comment saying useful and smash that like button to show your support. We truly appreciate you. Number 2, unrealistic expectations, the fantasy that sabotages love. Epictetus once said, "Men are disturbed, not by things, but by the principles and notions which they form concerning things." This wisdom rings true in our relationships. We often set ourselves up for disappointment not because of our partners, but because of the unrealistic expectations we form about them. Have you ever felt let down because someone didn't live up to your ideal? Maybe you expected your partner to always know what you're thinking, be there for you 24/7, or never disagree with you. While these fantasies might seem appealing, they're not rooted in reality. Let's be honest, guys. No one, not even you, can be perfect all the time. Expecting your partner to be flawless is like expecting a car to run forever without maintenance. It's simply not going to happen. When you set the bar impossibly high, you're essentially setting yourself up for a never-ending cycle of frustration and disappointment. Unrealistic expectations often stem from those picture-perfect relationships we see in movies and on social media. But remember, those are curated highlights, not the full picture. In reality, every relationship has its ups and downs, disagreements, and imperfections. Imagine you're dating a woman who's always been independent and career-driven. Now, you expect her to suddenly prioritize your needs above everything else, That's unrealistic and unfair. Instead of accepting her for who she is, you're trying to mold her into someone she's not. The key to building healthy, lasting relationships is to ditch those fairy tale notions and embrace the beautiful messiness of real life. Recognize that your partner, just like you, is a work in progress. They'll make mistakes, have bad days, and sometimes let you down. But that doesn't mean they don't love you or care about you. So, instead of focusing on what your partner isn't doing, focus on what they are doing. Appreciate their efforts, acknowledge their strengths, and communicate your needs clearly and respectfully. By setting realistic expectations, you create a space where both of you can grow and thrive together. Remember, a loving relationship isn't about finding someone who meets all your unrealistic expectations. It's about finding someone whose imperfections complement your own and whose love for you is genuine and unwavering. Number 3, too independent, when self-sufficiency blocks connection. In the last section, we talked about unrealistic expectations and how they can sabotage your love life. Now let's tackle another common pitfall: being too independent. You might think that self-reliance is a virtue, and to a certain extent it is. But when it comes to relationships, an excessive need for independence can backfire. As Seneca wisely said, we are each a part of the whole. This means that we are not meant to go through life alone, but rather to connect with others and build meaningful relationships. Being overly independent can make you appear aloof and emotionally unavailable. If you're constantly projecting an image of not needing anyone, why would someone want to be with you? Women crave connection and want to feel valued. If you never ask for help, never share your feelings, or always insist on doing things your way, you're essentially telling her, "I don't need you." Imagine you're trying to build a campfire. You could try to do it all yourself, struggling to gather wood, light the match, and keep the flames going. Or you could work with others, sharing the workload and enjoying the warmth together. Which scenario sounds more appealing? Let's say you're a successful businessman who's used to calling all the shots. You're confident, capable, and don't need anyone's help. But when you meet a woman you're interested in, you continue to operate in this lone wolf mode. You never let your guard down, you rarely share your thoughts and feelings, and you always insist on paying for everything. While you may think you're being chivalrous, you're actually creating a barrier between you and her. Women want to feel needed and appreciated. They want to know that you value their presence in your life and that you're willing to let them in. This doesn't mean you have to become completely dependent on them, but it does mean being open to their support, their ideas, and their love. So, how can you strike the right balance between independence and interdependence? Start by being honest with yourself about your needs and fears. Are you afraid of being vulnerable? Do you feel like you have to prove your worth by doing everything yourself? Once you understand the root of your behavior, you can start to make changes. Practice asking for help, even if it's just for something small. Share your thoughts and feelings with your partner, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. And most importantly, be willing to let your partner support you both emotionally and practically. Remember, a strong relationship is built on mutual trust, respect, and a willingness to be vulnerable with each other. Number 4, communication barriers, the silent killer of relationships. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing." This metaphor perfectly encapsulates the effort required to navigate the complexities of communication in relationships. Effective communication is not just about speaking, it's about listening, understanding, and responding in a way that fosters mutual respect and connection. Many men struggle with communication, often resorting to avoidance or defensiveness when faced with difficult conversations. A couple having a disagreement about their future plans. Instead of addressing the issue head-on, the man might shut down or change the subject, hoping the problem will resolve itself. This avoidance only leads to unresolved tensions and growing dissatisfaction. To improve communication, it's essential to develop active listening skills. This means truly hearing what your partner is saying without planning your response while she's speaking. Reflect back what you've heard to ensure you've understood her correctly. For example, if your partner says she's feeling neglected, respond with, "I hear that you're feeling neglected. Can you tell me more about what makes you feel this way?" Another crucial aspect is expressing your feelings and needs clearly and respectfully. Instead of using accusatory language, frame your statements with "I" rather than "you." For instance, instead of saying "you never spend time with me," try "I feel lonely when we don't spend quality time together." Improving communication also involves being open to feedback and willing to make changes. This might mean adjusting your behavior, acknowledging your partner's perspective, and finding compromises that work for both of you. Remember, communication is a two-way street, requiring effort and understanding from both partners. As we delve deeper into the nuances of effective communication, keep in mind that this skill is not only essential for resolving conflicts, but also for building a strong, intimate connection. It's through honest, open dialogue that we truly get to know our partners and strengthen our bonds. Based on the scenario described, what do you think will happen if the couple starts practicing active listening and expressing their feelings clearly? A. Their relationship will improve with fewer conflicts. B. They will still face conflicts, but resolve them more effectively. C. Their communication will remain the same. D. They might find new challenges, but grow closer overall. Number 5. Control and manipulation. The power play that destroys trust. Seneca once said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." This principle applies not just to anger, but also to the urge to control. In the realm of love, control and manipulation are like attempting to force a flower to bloom before its time. The result? A damaged flower and a frustrated gardener. A man, fueled by insecurity, constantly checks his partner's phone, questions her whereabouts, and tries to dictate her choices. This behavior, while perhaps intended to ensure his partner's loyalty, ironically pushes her away. It creates an environment of distrust and resentment, suffocating the love that once blossomed. Another example is a man who resorts to emotional manipulation to get his way. He might guilt-trip his partner, give her the silent treatment, or withhold affection until she complies with his wishes. This form of control, while subtle, is incredibly damaging. It erodes the foundation of trust and respect that a healthy relationship is built upon. Love is a partnership, not a dictatorship. When you attempt to control your partner, you're not showing love, you're expressing insecurity. And the tighter you grip the reins of control, the more your partner will want to break free. Research in psychology has consistently shown that relationships thrive on mutual respect and autonomy. When both partners feel valued and trusted, they are more likely to invest in the relationship. Conversely, control and manipulation breed resentment and disconnection. Instead of trying to mold your partner into your ideal, learn to appreciate her for who she is. Celebrate her individuality, respect her choices, and give her the space to be herself. This doesn't mean being passive or indifferent. It means fostering an environment of trust and understanding. Remember, love is not about power or possession. It's about connection, respect, and mutual growth. By letting go of the need to control, you create space for genuine intimacy and lasting love. So, the next time you feel the urge to control your partner, take a step back. Remember Seneca's advice and delay your reaction. Choose trust over suspicion, respect over control, and love over fear. This is the path to a truly fulfilling and lasting relationship. Number 6. Comparison and jealousy. The green-eyed monster. Undermining your love. Comparison and jealousy are often the silent saboteurs of relationships. As Epictetus wisely stated, Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. This principle applies not just to material possessions, but also to our relationships. When we constantly compare ourselves to others and allow jealousy to fester, we create a void that no amount of external validation can fill. In the age of social media, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparison. We see our friends' seemingly perfect relationships, their exotic vacations, their picture-perfect families. We start to wonder, why don't I have that? Or, is my relationship as good as theirs? This comparison game is a dangerous one, as it can breed resentment, insecurity, and ultimately, jealousy. Consider a man who constantly compares his partner to other women. He might think, why can't she be more like her? Or, she's not as successful, attractive, or outgoing as so-and-so. This constant comparison not only devalues his partner, but also undermines the trust and intimacy that are essential for a healthy relationship. Gentlemen, the truth is, comparison is a thief of joy. It robs us of the present moment, making us focus on what we lack instead of appreciating what we have. And jealousy, it's a green-eyed monster that can devour even the strongest of bonds. So how do we tame this monster? It starts with cultivating self-worth. When we value ourselves, we don't need external validation to feel good about ourselves or our relationships. We recognize that our worth is not determined by our partner's achievements or by how we stack up against others. Next, we need to practice gratitude. Instead of focusing on what we don't have, let's appreciate what we do have. Our partner's smile, her laughter, her kindness, her quirks. These are the things that make our relationship unique and special. Finally, let's communicate openly and honestly with our partners. If we're feeling insecure or jealous, let's express those feelings in a healthy way. Sharing our vulnerabilities can actually strengthen our bond, as it shows our partner that we trust them enough to be open and honest. Remember, every relationship is unique with its own strengths and challenges. Comparing your relationship to others is like comparing apples to oranges. It's pointless and counterproductive. Instead, focus on nurturing the love you have and watch it blossom into something truly beautiful. As we transition to the next segment, let's keep in mind the importance of self-worth and gratitude in overcoming jealousy. By focusing on what we have and appreciating our unique relationships, we can move forward with a sense of fulfillment and peace. So, the next time you feel the urge to control your partner, take a step back. Remember Seneca's advice and delay your reaction. Choose trust over suspicion, respect over control, and love over fear. This is the path to a truly fulfilling and lasting relationship. Number 7. Fear of vulnerability, the hidden obstacle in a man's path to love. In the pursuit of love, men often unknowingly create barriers that hinder their path to deep connection. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This rings especially true when it comes to the fear of vulnerability. Many men, shaped by societal expectations to be strong and self-reliant, find the idea of vulnerability particularly challenging. They may believe that exposing their true selves will make them appear weak or less attractive. However, this emotional guardedness, while intended to be protective, can actually isolate them from the very intimacy they crave. Imagine a man who has experienced heartbreak in the past. The pain of that experience has left him wary of opening up again. When he meets a woman he's interested in, he struggles to let his guard down, avoiding deep conversations and downplaying his emotions. His fear of vulnerability has become a self-imposed obstacle, preventing him from experiencing the love and connection he desires. Now, picture the woman who has fallen for this man. She sees his potential, his kindness, his humor, but she also senses his hesitation, the invisible wall he's built around his heart. She yearns to break through, to show him that she's trustworthy and won't hurt him. But her efforts are often met with resistance, frustration, and even withdrawal. Men, it's crucial to understand that vulnerability is not a weakness, it's a strength. It's the courage to risk being hurt in order to experience deeper intimacy. It's about opening your heart, even when it's been broken before, and trusting that the right person will cherish your vulnerability, not exploit it. To overcome this fear, start by recognizing that vulnerability is essential for forming meaningful relationships. Surround yourself with people who make you feel safe, loved, and supported. And finally, take a leap of faith, trusting that the rewards of vulnerability far outweigh the risks. Remember, as Epictetus also said, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. Listen to your heart and have the courage to share it with others. That is the path to true love and connection. Number 8. Emotional unavailability, the heart blocker in relationships. Epictetus wisely stated, "We suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them." This principle is particularly relevant when it comes to emotional unavailability, a common stumbling block for many men in relationships. Emotional unavailability is not about being an emotionless robot, but rather, it's the inability or unwillingness to connect with your own emotions and the emotions of others. This disconnect can manifest in various ways, from burying yourself in work to avoid meaningful conversations, to shutting down emotionally when your partner expresses her feelings. Emotions are the language of intimacy. When you're emotionally unavailable, it's like trying to have a conversation with someone who speaks a different language. You might hear the words, but you can't understand the meaning behind them. This leads to frustration, miscommunication, and a growing chasm between you and your partner. For instance, imagine a woman shares her excitement about a promotion at work, but her partner responds with a dismissive, "That's nice." This seemingly insignificant response can be incredibly hurtful, signaling that her joy isn't important or valued. Over time, such emotional neglect can erode even the strongest of bonds. On the other hand, emotional vulnerability is like opening the door to a deeper connection. It's about allowing yourself to feel and express your emotions authentically, whether it's joy, sadness, fear, or anger. This doesn't mean oversharing or being overly dramatic, but rather it's about sharing your inner world with your partner in a way that fosters understanding and empathy. When you're emotionally available, you create a safe space for your partner to do the same. This mutual vulnerability is the bedrock of intimacy, allowing you to build a relationship that's not just about passion and attraction, but also about deep emotional connection and support. So, how do you overcome emotional unavailability? It starts with self-awareness. Recognize the patterns of behavior that keep you emotionally distant. Do you tend to deflect when asked about your feelings? Do you use humor to avoid serious conversations? Once you're aware of these patterns, you can start to challenge them. Consider seeking therapy or counseling if you're struggling to connect with your emotions. A trained professional can provide guidance and support as you learn to navigate the complex world of feelings. By embracing emotional availability, you're not just making love easier for your partner, you're also enriching your own life. You're opening yourself up to a deeper, more meaningful connection, one that can weather the storms of life and stand the test of time. Number 9. Need for validation, the approval trap. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, wisely observed, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." This profound statement holds true not only for overall happiness, but also for the dynamics of relationships. The constant need for external validation, especially from your partner, can create an unhealthy dependency that stifles love and growth. Men often fall into the trap of seeking approval and affirmation from their partners. This can manifest as constantly fishing for compliments, needing reassurance about their attractiveness or worth, or basing their self-esteem on their partner's reactions. This constant craving for validation is like building a house on shifting sands. It creates a fragile foundation for a relationship, The problem with seeking validation from others is that it's an endless pursuit. You'll never receive enough compliments or reassurance to fully satisfy your inner critic. This external focus also shifts your attention away from what truly matters: your own values, goals, and self-worth. Instead of looking to your partner to fill the void within, turn your gaze inward. Cultivate a strong sense of self-worth that's not dependent on anyone else's opinion. Celebrate your achievements, embrace your strengths, and acknowledge your weaknesses without judgment. This inner strength will radiate outwards, making you more attractive and confident in your relationships. Moreover, when you free yourself from the need for validation, you'll be able to love your partner more authentically. You won't be driven by a need to please or impress her, but rather by a genuine desire to connect and share your life with her. This unconditional love is far more fulfilling and sustainable than a love that's constantly seeking approval. Remember, as Marcus Aurelius stated, happiness is within you. By cultivating self-worth and letting go of the need for validation, you'll not only make love easier for yourself, but you'll also create a healthier, more fulfilling relationship for both you and your partner. The next time you find yourself seeking validation from your partner, pause and reflect on your own inner strength. Remember that you are worthy of love and respect regardless of anyone else's opinion. By embracing this truth, you'll pave the way for a more authentic, joyful, and lasting love. Number 10. The love funnel. Make love a no-brainer. Think of your love life like running a business. You have one clear goal: to make it super easy for customers to buy your product. The fewer the hurdles, the more likely they are to open their wallets. This concept isn't just about selling stuff, it's the key to winning hearts too. When was the last time you had an awesome online shopping experience? Chances are, it was fast and smooth, right? You added items to your cart, punched in your payment info, and boom, order confirmed. But if the process was a pain, you probably gave up and went somewhere else. The same goes for relationships. To win a woman's heart, you've got to make it easy for her to give you love. In the words of the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Therefore, guard accordingly, and take care that you entertain no notions unsuitable to virtue and reasonable nature. Just like a business simplifies the buying process, you need to ditch any unnecessary complications that could mess up your love connection. Think about it. If you're constantly playing games, sending mixed signals, or creating a whole drama fest, you're essentially putting up roadblocks to love. But if you're clear about what you want, honest about your feelings, and easy to be around, you'll be like that smooth-sailing website that everyone loves to shop at. Remember, love shouldn't feel like a scavenger hunt or a puzzle with missing pieces. It should be a straightforward and enjoyable experience. So, the next time you're about to overcomplicate things, take a step back and remember, keep it simple, keep it real, and watch love naturally flow your way. To illustrate, imagine a guy named Mark who's trying to win over a woman named Sarah. Instead of being direct and upfront about his feelings, Mark decides to employ a classic yet misguided strategy: playing hard to get. He sends cryptic texts that leave Sarah puzzled, cancels dates at the last minute, and deliberately creates an aura of mystery, hoping to intrigue her. But instead of building attraction, Mark's actions create confusion and frustration for Sarah. She starts to second-guess his intentions, questioning whether he's genuinely interested or just toying with her emotions. Now let's flip the script. Imagine Mark chooses a different approach. He decides to be straightforward and genuine about his feelings. He plans thoughtful dates that reflect his understanding of Sarah's interests, communicates openly, and makes her feel valued and respected. Instead of leaving Sarah in the dark, he illuminates his intentions clearly and sincerely. He doesn't shy away from expressing his emotions, showing vulnerability and authenticity. In this scenario, Sarah feels a sense of security and trust. She appreciates Mark's honesty and the effort he puts into their interactions. She no longer has to decode mixed signals or navigate through emotional landmines. As a result, she is much more likely to reciprocate Mark's feelings and open her heart to the possibility of a deeper connection. By simplifying the love funnel, you not only make it easier for women to fall for you, but you also create a more positive and enjoyable experience for yourself. Remember, love shouldn't be a chore, it should be a joy. So make it easy for her to love you and watch your love life blossom. In essence, nurturing a fulfilling and enduring love story involves recognizing and overcoming those subtle behaviors that can chip away at intimacy. By prioritizing humility over ego, embracing reality over fantasy, and cultivating a balanced connection rooted in vulnerability and emotional honesty, we pave the way for deep trust and genuine love. Remember, love flourishes in an environment of mutual respect, appreciation, and authenticity. By incorporating these principles into your relationship, you not only enhance your partner's experience of love but also enrich your own. If you found this valuable, please share the love by hitting like and sharing your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more relationship insights. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.